I'm Dave Hendricks. I'm the CEO, and this is just some of the amazing sales and service team here at Vertalo. It's growing. Come to Paradise, Austin, Texas. Tacos, brisket, beer, Virtalo, tungsten cubes,
ranch
water,
right.
Shiba Inu. Okay, it's all here, and plus a really great crypto community. If you want to see that, you can even ride on boats like you can in Miami. So, okay, you got to get out of here now. We got a big meeting to cover. So. We're here in our offices in Austin, Texas, and we've been in these offices for a little more than a year and a half, and we've been colonizing it over that time. And so when we first started in this building, we sublet a space down here because we lost another lease for our previous space. So we started in just this one space. And we are all in this suite of offices, which is now today it's the home of Fried Chicken Friday, which you can get a look at the fantastic fried chicken offerings we have here today. But Virtalo Cafe used to be a workspace, and now it's a cafe, and we've got some sales folks here. So in December of 2020, we started seeing people leave this office space, leave the office building. And so we ended up taking this space over here. Now we use this new space here for workshops where we have our clients come in. And this side of this one particular suite, which is empty because everyone's over at Vertalo Cafe, is mostly product and development over here. Every morning we start the day with stand-up, going over the things that we're doing on the platform and all the things that we're building. And so we're really big on in-person here, and so we start the day at 8:30. And some of the most important things are some of our values here. We're here in the Republic of Texas, and of course we've got to have our Gadsden flags and all the accoutrements. So we were in here for a while, and we started growing and having a need for more space. And again, another company decided to move out and give us an opportunity to move in. And so in July, we moved into this space, which is largely the executive suite with my team, and even my office over here, which owing to kind of crazy 12-hour-a-day schedule, I've moved my guitars in here, and my desk is messy with lots of stuff, and so we'll be expanding more into this space. And our most recent real estate acquisition, as we anticipate pretty huge growth over the next year or so, is another office space that we've just taken here. And so we just got this a couple of days ago, and this space right here will expand into this space after we renovate it all. So all the space that you saw, we've got 4 suites. There's another suite on the other side of this wall, which we'll take early next year. And then in Q1 of 2022, we expect to combine all the spaces into a super cutting edge work environment, and a place where we collaborate, we work together, where everyone can come together and have a really amazing place to work, as well as a great place to host clients. So if you're in Austin, or you're thinking about visiting Austin, you need to make sure to visit Virtalo World Headquarters up in the Arboretum. And if you come on Friday, you'll get some fried chicken. Welcome to Fried Chicken Friday. It's we're actually filming this on a Thursday, but you know, why not get a jump on Friday and have fried chicken on Thursday in honor of the Security Token Markets team. You know, Kyle will happily get on a flight for some hot Nashville fried chicken here in Austin, Texas.
I've heard they're real good at it. So
So this is Vertalo Cafe. This is where we have meals. You know, we all work together in person, and so hey guys, get some food so that we can hop in. Hey Kyle, great to have you here. Yeah, I'm Dave Hendricks. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Virtalo. And we started this actually in 2016 on a barge on the River Spree in Berlin. It was me and my two co-founders, William Baxter, our CTO, and Gautam Gujral, our general counsel. Originally, we thought that we were going to build a due diligence platform using Ethereum smart contracts. It was interesting. We brought out the first version of that and beta tested it at my previous company. In September 2017, we thought about doing an ICO. So we wrote a white paper and a yellow paper. Well, we took that with Gautam, our general counsel co-founder, to our law firm. They kind of said, no ICO for you. So in October of 2017, while everybody else was raising non-dilutive capital by non-compliant ICOs, we decided to launch our own digital asset security offering. It was interesting. It was a Reg D and a Reg S offering together. Had a utility token and a security token. We created an entity in the Cayman Islands called Vertalo with the help of Deloitte. And then we raised a small amount of funds from 53 investors in March of 2018. It wasn't that successful from a fundraising perspective, but it was very successful from what we found. And what we found was that there are companies that could issue tokens and there are companies being stood up to trade those tokens, but there was nothing in the middle. And as a long-time database guy, CRM guy, I thought, wow, this is a tremendous data management opportunity that wasn't being met by the market. So in May of 2018, we pivoted the company to focus on becoming a digital transfer agent and cap table company to connect and enable the digital asset ecosystem. Well, I got clued in to Bitcoin in 2010. I couldn't figure out how to buy it, and I was running another startup, and so I kind of put it away for a while. I took a look again in 2013. I tried to buy it on Mt. Gox, and I found Mt. Gox to be dodgy, and I went through the whole process, but I didn't really know how to deal with it, and so it wasn't until 2016 when I started buying crypto. We didn't build Virtalo though thinking we're going to build a crypto company. We're building Virtalo to create a B2B platform that would help startup entrepreneurs and companies, you know, connect with their investors or connect with the issuer that they were buying stock from. And so while blockchain's always been super important to us and it's kind of at the core of our offering, it was never like, hey, here's this blockchain thing, let's go figure out something to do with it, and let's like invent a problem. The reason why Virtalo is the Virtalo that it is today is because we discovered the problem when we did our own security token offering. And it was only because we did that security token offering that we thought, wow, we should use distributed ledger technology, blockchain, to manage the issuance and trading of digital shares. And that was it. So it was really problem-based. This is a team that defies description and categorization. Everyone here is handpicked. We didn't pick anyone here because of what school they went to, or
who they knew, etc. We kind of over-index on attitude and enthusiasm and willingness to learn. When trying to choose people to work on an early stage startup, they've got to be able to roll with the punches. They've got to be able to grow. They've got to be able to deal with a lot of ambiguity. When you create a category like we're creating, when there's not a real blueprint you're not copying anything, you have to find people who are plastic in terms of their mindset, meaning they're not rigid. They can wrap their minds around new concepts which are still not fully defined. And so this team has been put together over the last 4 years with attitude in mind and aptitude. And I think we've done a pretty good job. So, we are always looking for amazing people who are fundamentally collaborative, essentially curious, and are great to work with. I mean, one of the things here, just to finish off on, the team members, the employees at Virtalo are the most important part of Virtalo. After that come the clients and then the investors. And the reason for that is really simple. If the team knows that we've got their back, they know that they can make mistakes, they know they can operate under first principles, they know that if a client is difficult with them, that we will talk to the client and get them to behave better. So this fantastic team here has my total support, and I will always back them up. And if I back up the employees, they're going to take care of the clients. And if we take care of the clients, the investors will be fine. But if we did it any other way, I think that we would see a completely different mindset and behavior. Well, doing what we do is very difficult. Building a platform like what we've built takes very, very smart people, amazing clients, and frankly, new technologies. It's hard to do, it's expensive. Small businesses don't have the time or the capital to build this themselves. If they want to have a differential advantage over larger financial institutions, over bigger teams who are better funded, they need to work with the best platform possible. So what Virtalo does is it's created a platform that can be licensed to new or not so new businesses so that they can build their own business on top of us. If you don't have to worry about, the foundational layer of your business and you can focus on what you're good at, you probably have a better chance of success. And so if you're a small team and you're thinking about, wow, how do I get into digitization and tokenization of assets? Well, you should call Vertalo, because not only do we have an amazing technology platform that you can make your own, but we have an amazing team that knows what it's like to work at a smaller company, that knows what it's like to be David versus Goliath, and that wants you to be successful. If you take a look at the current financial markets, you've got public equities, which is a fairly big market, but then unseen and unappreciated, you have a much bigger economy in the private markets. A lot of regular people own illiquid assets, investments in real estate, maybe stock options in venture funded companies, all kinds of instruments that can't be easily bought or sold. When inevitable financial crises occur, the first thing that happens is people sell whatever they can sell to meet margin calls or capital calls. They see everyone else selling and they sell. If the market is limited in terms of liquidity to public equities, then more than half of the market is not available to provide liquidity or collateral in times of systemic financial distress. Virtalo's mission to connect and enable the digital asset ecosystem isn't a mission about tokenizing the world. Virtalo's mission is to reduce systemic friction in private capital markets and improve secondary liquidity. This benefits small business owners, regular Main Street, normal people, investors, as well as large financial institutions, many of whom might not pass a stress test if they were tested today. And so what we're working on, and what I think ultimately the digital asset market, not just what we do in digital asset securities, but also the crypto market, this highly liquid market can serve as a circuit breaker in times of systemic financial distress. And with a family history that is where my family has suffered financially during liquidity crises, this is a real thing. Families are destroyed, fortunes are lost, jobs are eliminated when businesses cannot meet their capital requirements. And so I think this mission it's not transactional. It's really fundamental and foundational for the economic system. Why should the largest asset class, real estate, be 100% immune to modernization? Why can't people more easily buy and sell private VC-funded company stock? Why should companies get stuck on OTC markets getting naked short sold when they could move onto safer, more orderly markets? So there's a lot of reasons why this matters, and a lot of people benefit. I would say actually the economy as a whole benefits from this systemic modernization, which we are a big part of. Well, of course, watching the New York Football Jets, we're a hard-working group here, and we probably work harder than we play, but we like to get out on a boat. We like to throw axes. We like to go to the range, all kinds of ranges. And plus we've got an amazing food town here, so we like to go out and eat. But of course, we have Fried Chicken Friday. So, what else do you need besides that?
So my name's William Baxter. I'm CTO and co-founder here at Virtalo. I'm a mathematician by training. I have a PhD from Berkeley in low-dimensional topology, but having finished that, decided that I should program for a living and rather than be an academician. I've spent the last 30 plus years programming, building teams, doing agile coaching, and I've become pretty good at developing teams and delivering product to market. Dave and I connected back in the .com days at a company called Cheetah Mail, which was the downtown New York City .com that made it. We built the world's largest email service provider. It was a lot of fun, it was a lot of work, and it inspired us to find another way to work together. The stars didn't align for quite a long time, but in 2017 they did, and we founded this company. What brought me to Austin was that I had lived for 15 years in New York City, the last 12 in Hell's Kitchen on the west side of Midtown, and my wife and I decided we'd been there and done that and needed a new adventure. And Austin was that new adventure, and so we moved here in 2015. I love it. It's great. It's growing very fast. It's changing a lot. It's an interesting mashup of people, which I love, and also it's a great place to do tech. We backed into the blockchain industry. First, we started the company based on an idea of confirmed relationships. And after talking to a number of people, some suggested that blockchain was a good tool for certifying those relationships. We looked at it and realized, yes, it was. So we started using blockchain. This was in 2017. The ICO craze was in full flower, and we thought, does this make sense for us? And looked at it, and our third co-founder with Dave and me, Gautam Gujral, who's a former SEC attorney, said, no, it's not. So we then set out to try to figure out how to do token offerings in a way that did pass muster with the SEC. And that's what led us to this business. We abandoned the original idea and we turned attention to this because we looked around for help and couldn't find any, and realized that there was a very large gap, and yet the tools and the technology still helped with the problems. And so we decided to manage cap tables with a blockchain angle and in a way that was compatible with existing securities laws, and that's what led us to the cap table management. First and foremost, it's the team. I love the team at Vertalo. I also love the technology that we're working on and the industry that we're in. It's an industry that has a huge amount of potential because it's very large. The private markets are much larger than the public markets, and yet they're very antiquated in how they do things. They're very slow moving. They offer none of the efficiencies of the public markets. And we think that they are ripe for change in that regard, that if APIs and integrations come into play broadly in this market, then all of a sudden private investors will have a lot more opportunity than they have today. And the markets are already big. The markets are already faster growing than the public markets. We can enhance that quite a bit, we believe. Yeah, so the product team, it's very small. It's very advanced. We are all here under one roof, which is a tremendous luxury, especially for someone in my position, because I get to interact with everybody face to face every day. The number of casual conversations that take place in the office here that are quite important is very high. Every day it happens all over the place. That's not something that works very well over the wire. And so we are looking to grow the team right here in the office. We've been working together here in the office since a year ago, June. It's a very unusual thing. It was even more unusual a year ago. Now when you talk to people who've been out for so long, their eyes light up and they say, I could have human contact again, how fantastic. And we've had it all the way along. And so this team is very advanced users of all the technology in our stack, PostgreSQL, GraphQL, Node, and React, and AWS for infrastructure. And we're constantly on the hunt for people of that caliber to join us. We're looking for people who agree with us on the fundamentals about how to think about programming, how to do the work that is necessary to get it done. But we're also looking for people who have a different perspective from ours, so that they're bringing new ideas and a fresh perspective. So our tech enables our client businesses by providing a platform on which they can build. We are really a platform provider, and we are integrating with all of the other players in the ecosystem. As a result, we're able to offer an entry point that gives our clients access to all the other players that are required in order to get things done in this industry. The way that the regulations work requires that certain players do certain things and other players do different things. And our role in that is the glue that binds them all together. And so we're a transfer agent, we're not a broker-dealer, we're not a custodian, but we link with those groups. We're not an operator in the qualification space, a KYC AML provider, or an accreditation provider, but we partner for those things. So we have partners across the industry, we draw them all together and allow our clients easy integration. And our clients are broker-dealers or deal packagers who are helping people raise money, or who are helping bring people to the secondary markets to add liquidity. and we provide the vehicle for them to accomplish that. It matters because these markets are big, these markets are deep, these markets are very illiquid. A lot of early investors in startups go 7, 8, 10 years without being able to achieve any liquidity. They can't get their money out when the investment has already run its course for them, for their perspective. Maybe they're an early stage investor and this company is doing fine and it's a $500 million company. That may be too large to be acquired, that may be too small to have an IPO. So what are they to do? They may be throwing off great revenue and so on. Well, we'd like to bring liquidity to those players, to those companies, because then that early stage capital can move into the next generation of entrepreneurship. Someone should join my team because, number one, the team already on the ground is great and it's a blast to work with them. Number two, we're working in a really interesting area. This area of fintech is growing and it's a nascent industry, which means there's a lot of ability to innovate and there's a lot of benefit that we can bring to the industry. It's also cool technology, and we also have kind of a unique place in that industry. Because we are the glue that binds everything together, we get to see all aspects of the industry. So if you're of a mindset that I'm not just a programmer, but I also want to understand the business, this is a great example of how you can apply that broad interest. There's a lot of depth of knowledge required for the securities markets, and we are trying to translate that into platform code, and that's a big challenge, and it's a fun thing. Well, I'm a Texan now, so it had to be going shooting, but we do a lot of stuff. We eat together. We have gone shooting, and some of us have done that on the side. I'm having everybody to my place for Thanksgiving, so it's we have so much interesting camaraderie in the office. It's actually a little bit hard to separate as an activity that's not from the office because it flows very readily back and forth.
My name is Kyle Brown. My official title here is VP Systems Integration. And what that essentially means is I am in charge of basically managing all of the various kinds of integrations that we are performing here, both with ecosystem partners, ATSs, custodians, payment processors, KYC, AML, as well as with our issuing partners. So the issuers that are using our platform, we are an API-first platform. And so we are very keen on getting our API into the hands and empowering businesses to build their business on top of our API. How did I get into this in general? Blockchain, how did I get into blockchain? I got in really through Vertalo. I had some dealings, dabbling in blockchain prior to this, but about 2.5 years ago, my good buddy Dave Hendricks, who's the CEO, Dave and I go way back. We actually started another company together in New York City called Live Intent, which was ad serving in email. And we built that company up to a very successful level. He eventually went his own way, I eventually went my own way, and we kept in touch. And lo and behold, we reconnected a couple years ago. And he said, come on down to Austin. So I was lured down here on the promise of fried chicken and great music and a really cool technology in terms of what Virtalo is doing. What do I love about Virtalo? I love the people. I love the team. We have assembled a really amazing group of individuals who excel in their areas. And so, I'm very proud to say, we operate at a very high level across the board in an industry that is still really being defined. And so we've got some really wonderful minds here that are really inventing a lot of this as we go. We're creating this over time and during the time we've been here. And so there's lots of course corrections, there's lots of learnings along the way, and we're taking all that in. And so this team really embraces that ethos of operating in in an environment of high ambiguity and making it work. Our company empowers not only small businesses, but businesses of all sizes. Certainly, in terms of small businesses, strictly speaking, they are able to build on top of our platform. They are able to either use our system in a white-labeled fashion, or via API, they are able to literally build their business on top of our API and on top of our infrastructure and our technology. And so you've got people or organizations of all shapes and sizes that are taking advantage of our platform in different ways, from, again, using it as a web application as is, as well as using it and building upon our API. This all matters because we are creating something that didn't exist before, and that is the ability for private investors to reach secondary liquidity faster than was previously possible. And so these issuers that use our platform, these technology partners that we integrate with, we are all together building this thing, which is this incredible engine in the private capital markets and secondary liquidity, and we're just scratching the surface. I mean, we're literally just getting going. And there's so many interesting and wonderful and cool things that are to come, and we're very excited to be part of that. Favorite team activities outside the office? Well, I'm a musician. Dave, our CEO, is a musician. We've got some other musicians here in the company. So we're all frustrated rock stars, and we love getting together and playing. That's always an interesting time. So that's certainly one thing. It's a tight group, so we tend to kind of hang out here a lot and after hours, and just kind of open up some beers and chat and talk about all kinds of different things. So it's a really diverse group with lots of different interests, and it's really great just to kind of hear about what other people are doing and what other people are interested in. In terms of getting into this industry, as I said, in an environment of a fair amount of ambiguity, I can speak from personal experience where I was a relative neophyte to a lot of this 2.5 years ago. And so listening, reading, podcasts, YouTube videos, there's so much content out there. It can be actually intimidating to actually weed through all that and sift through all that. But it really is just, you got to do the work. You got to get in, you got to roll up your sleeves, and you've got to be intensely curious about all the goings on within this industry, because there's so many things going on in so many different areas. It's hard to keep up. And as I said, we're just scratching the surface. I am incredibly excited for our future here at Vertalo. This is an industry that we are inventing as we go. And that is the cool thing, because I don't think anybody has the answers. And there's more questions perhaps than answers at this point. And we're figuring that out, and we're figuring it out in a cooperative way with lots of other players and lots of other businesses. And so that, to me, is what's so exciting about this. And so, the potential here is pretty much unlimited.
Yeah, so I'm Nolan Aguirre. I'm the lead developer here at Virtalo. I'm self-taught, and I basically came here after high school. I mean, I've been programming since I was 13. So William found me, and we talked for a bit, and it seemed really interesting. So I've been here ever since. So my experiences before Vertalo were primarily in, well, they were all over the board, but my primary interest was distributed systems because that's, I don't know, I found it very deep and interesting. But I've done everything from like VR games to just simple web servers and like cryptography, everything in between all of those stuff. So it was actually the way that I got into the blockchain space was through the distributed systems because blockchains are distributed systems, and it's a very interesting implementation of the technology. So I come at the blockchain from the angle of distributed consensus and much more of like the distributed ledger aspect, much more than the cryptography, which I think is pretty unique for the actual the blockchain space, because most people think about the encryption that happens with it and not the distribution. So there are two main reasons that I love working at Virtalo. So one is the team. The team here is really experienced, so there's a lot to learn, and they're also everyone's full of opinions, so there's always something to talk about. There's always something to debate or learn, or just whatever comes about from having lots of experienced, wise people in a room together. And the second is the technology. There are lots of very interesting technical problems that come about because of what we're trying to do. Integrating a massive blockchain system with very highly regulated securities is a big task, and there's a reason that not every company has done it so far, or why no company has really done it that successfully thus far. So it's just the technical problems are at no other company, I would say. So Virtalo empowers small businesses by providing them a platform to build on top of. So Virtalo is a platform, much more than a custom dev shop that helps people create tokens. So we provide APIs and accessible APIs for anyone to build on top of, so small businesses can build their businesses on top of Virtalo. Well, so building a platform is exciting because basically Stripe is kind of the pinnacle example of what tech should be, and just using them as a reference point for how you should design software kind of just leads you to the platform. And well, Amazon and all the big players, they design platforms. They design features that are meant to be reused and used by everyone and accessible, and all of these various other programming concepts that just really vibe with me, I guess. So it's just the most natural thing. Yeah, I like the tech. The tech is cool. Building platforms is way more interesting than building single one-off things for one person to use. It's way more impactful. There's way more that you can do with it. It's extensible and so on and so forth. So the Vertalo product matters because it solves a liquidity problem in capital markets. So there's a certain size of company that's too big to get acquired but too small to go public. It's referred to as the gulch of death. And companies, if startups make it there, their equity and their stock for their employees and founders and stuff still might not be worth anything. And there's a lot of capital locked up there because they don't have any way to exit, because going public, of course, they're not big enough to do that. So because of all the fees and such, there's a lot of fees associated with that. So Vertalo provides an alternative to gain liquidity for these startups who have actually made it past the startup phase and are now trying to seek liquidity without massive compromises to what they would actually get out of it. My favorite team activity is definitely rock climbing. The dev team is, well, the opinions are mixed on the dev team, I'll say, but we're genuinely pro rock climbing, so I think we've been going about once a week, and it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, so Colin Sellers, I'm the VP of Solutions Architecture here, and what that means is I help our clients use our technology the best way possible, from strategically how they set up their business all the way through to how they can use our tech to enable their business to be as successful as possible. I've been in Austin for almost 7 years now. My wife is from here, so we came out here after living in New York at another startup, looking for some new opportunities and a little bit more of a fresh air than perhaps the big city has to offer. Love Texas, love being here, feel like a native even though I'm a transplant. Been with Vertalo, kind of founding team member, been here for a few years now, and been through the ups and downs, which has been wonderful, but joined in middle of 2019, and it's been an absolute wild ride so far, and enjoying every minute of it. Yeah, I've been into Bitcoin and blockchain for a few years now, and I went to a local, I went to business school, I did an MBA at a local program called Acton. A big part of the program is what they call life of meaning, and the core part of life of meaning is this idea that on your deathbed you're going to ask yourself 3 questions. Number 1, was I a good person? Number 2, who did I love and did they love me back? And number 3, what was the professional impact I left on the world? On that 3rd question, we were forced to ask ourselves really important questions about our ethics, how we would respond in certain scenarios, and most importantly, what do we want to do? I did a really deep dive, and I wasn't sure what I wanted to do. I've been passionate about fitness and health and wellness for a long time, and I kind of thought about that. But I really went to business school looking for a new opportunity, a new challenge. And so with the blessing of my wife, who's an angel, she said, look, you are passionate about blockchain and about finance. This is something that it really is a part of who you are. Let's go for it. So I made a list of 4 companies in Austin I wanted to work at. Untitled Capital was one of them. And I actually interviewed there, which was fun, but it came down to them and Vertalo, and chose Vertalo. One of the other companies of the 4 was a fund that was an investor in Vertalo, and they were winding the fund down, but Stefan told me, hey, let me introduce you to this guy I know, Dave. He's a great founder and CEO and an entrepreneur. You might click with him, and been here ever since. So, I love the people and I love the mission. There's a very real mission here of helping small businesses to do what they do better and to not have to focus on capital formation so that they can focus on their core businesses. I also love that in this day and age with all of the SPACs and companies that have negative unit economics but obscene valuations, that we are not that. This is not a run negative for long enough to see if we can force out the competition and then ratchet our prices up later. This is about building something of value and really helping solve real problems. Our CEO, Dave, he's a serial entrepreneur, and he's very passionate about making sure that businesses have the tools that they need, especially when it comes to their own valuations, their record-keeping processes. It makes a ton of sense. And so for me, it's really exciting to come in and to speak to small business owners every day about, okay, what are you doing? How can we help? What do we need to add to our product roadmap? Here's what we have coming out. It's, the mission and doing it alongside people that really care about the mission, that's all you need out of a professional gig. That's pretty great. We've really transformed what we do, and we're not just a core part of your technology stack, right? We are that. We have this awesome product and a platform that allows from first dollar in all the way through to secondary liquidity, capital formation, managing the data, and then making it tradable and liquid. But we've really become trusted advisors to a lot of our clients. So we run workshops whereby we visit our clients, or we have them here in this room with our war room here, and we go through their business processes with them. We ask the right questions, and we ask questions that maybe are the wrong questions. And we get to the core of what it is that they're trying to do. And we found that it is so valuable for them because they really start to understand what it is that they're doing, and it allows us to cut to a quicker MVP. It allows us to shorten that go-to-market time, and it certainly socializes and decentralizes the information and understanding about what their business and what their objectives are. And so it's a really neat process whereby we're understanding technology, we're understanding their business. We have a unique opportunity to really stand in their shoes and impersonate them, or at least understand their needs, so that we can then figure out, okay, well, how do we solve for this? And sometimes we have no solution at all because it's completely out of our purview, and that's okay. But just understanding that and being really intimate and close with these business owners, it's really phenomenal. It matters because capital markets are always changing. I think people think of capital markets as this big behemoth of an industry that's old, and to a degree, of course, it is that. But capital markets are always changing such that the technology, it moves so quickly, and it has the ability to enable new business structures, new business models, new opportunities for liquidity and capital formation, right? And that is something that affects the everyday person. Capital markets right now, when we think about public markets, they're optimized to death. There is no alpha to be found in them, right? There's a stat that floats around the industry that capital markets raise twice the amount of private markets raise twice the amount of capital, but they are 330 times less liquid than public markets, right? When we think about the ability to provide liquidity and value to investors. Those of us in the blockchain space, I think we see there's this kind of gray swan floating out in the abyss that could be the next financial crisis around liquidity. The analogy I've heard is that more and more people are piling in the pool, and there's only 2 double door exits, and when everyone tries to get out, it's going to be really problematic. And so liquidity for private capital markets we think is going to be quite substantial. And so we're very focused on, well, how can we do that? How can we ensure stability for private markets and also growth, right? That is where, under the new regulations, Reg CF, Reg A+, we're really excited to be a part of this transformation whereby the everyday person is going to get access to deals that were previously completely unattainable and unreachable for them. So for us, the mission is really clear. It's there. We love getting together as a team outside of the office. We've done Topgolf, we've gone shooting, we're in Texas, we've gone shooting, which is really fun. What else? Shows and concerts, we get together and hang out. We've got a bunch of musicians in the office. So in Dave's office, I have my guitar and pedal board here right now, and that's a lot of fun. And we really enjoy one another, and so it provides. We go rock climbing, lots of activities outside the office as a team, and it's really fun. We are in an environment where it can be high stakes, it can be intense. But we certainly don't let it get personal, and so the ability to form those extra curricular relationships, or the ability to have extracurricular the ability to include extracurricular activities as part of our relationships as a team that's awesome.
My name is Corey Siegel. I'm the Vice President of Business Solutions here at Virtalo. I got to Austin in 2014, grew up most of my life in Houston, and what brought me here, honestly, was the hill country. And initially I thought, Austin and Texas is totally flat. And then when I came here during my college years, I'm an A&M guy, then I saw the beauty around here and just the excitement, just everything that happened in Austin in terms of live music and so forth. So I moved here as far as that goes. And then my background, I spent about 20 years in consulting management space, both for top 4 big consulting firms down to individual, smaller, startups, as well as mid-sized consulting firms. And then about 7 years ago, I started doing my own entrepreneurship. Started 3 companies. One is a professional services company called The Anti. They're still around, for about 40 people supporting ServiceNow. I started another company called Vault Wallet in the blockchain space. And then finally, I'm here at Vertalo for the last year. I met Vertalo and Dave when I started my other company, Vault Wallet. And I met him on the road, a lot of different conferences, conventions. They at one point were going to consider using their wallet, but for various good reasons, with the securities, it doesn't make sense to have non-custodial wallets. But I met Dave through that, and the next thing you know, we've gotten together and became a partner here at Virtalo and invested, and here we are. Well, I got in the blockchain space. Me and my girlfriend were visiting some friends, and he was mining Ethereum back in the early days, and I heard about Bitcoin, but I got involved in a little bit of mining, and the next thing I know, I'm down the rabbit hole of learning about consensus models and blockchain and cryptocurrencies, and really kind of dove deep into that. And that's when in 2017 I started Vault Wallet, which is basically a Venmo for crypto B2B solution. That's kind of how things went, and I spent much time there. Yeah, as far as my day-to-day stuff at Virtalo, I am responsible for understanding the entire ecosystem. So think of me almost like an ecosystem plumber, where I help companies understand kind of all the different moving parts and players in the space. I then help them kind of map out where we fit in as Virtalo and where other technology platforms or companies fit in. Not specific companies, but generally ATSs, custodians, payment processors, so forth. And the other piece is I lead a team that we do what's called workshops here. And we do 3 types of workshops. We do a business-related workshop. We do a technology workshop in terms of our technology stack and how they can utilize it. And then we do an integration workshop with us and other technologies, including what we call an ATS assessment. And so that's kind of what I do here, I lead those teams. I love the culture, I love the CEO. When I first came here to interview, the first thing I asked Dave, because I'm in the driver's seat in terms of where I want to work. He said, I put our employees first, our customers second, and our shareholders third. And that was so important to me in terms of understanding that, and he said before, look, I will fire our clients if they come after you. I'm going to protect you. So it's really important to see our CEO have that sort of stance and sort of protectionism in terms of the team and the greatness of the team. And that's one piece of why I like Virtalo. The other is just the people in general. Not only are we super smart people here, to be honest, but we are humble. We also have a certain vibe here and culture that we want to maintain. And so just because you're smart doesn't mean you're going to get hired here. And it's really important that you fit the culture, you fit the vibe, you fit the startup mode, and just the people here in general are just great all around. Well, one of the things that we do at Virtalo is we help companies build their companies on top of us. So we provide kind of like, you think of a car industry where you have tires, cars, and batteries. We sort of provide those picks and shovels to a company to be able to not have to worry about building out and ironing out those sheets, and literally they can up and run. We've had, two-man startups all the way to larger teams of like 5 to 10. Again, there's a very small team still. Be able to just land on our platform, build on it, raise money, be able to build, whether it's collectibles platform to real estate and doing syndication just on the platform without having to build out all that technology and all the connectivity and integration that they have to do on their own, which would take, years to be honest and lots of money. So they can just leverage us and get going right away. One of the things I like about Virtalo and kind of, our mission, our purpose, or one of our missions and purpose is we really help enable crowdfunding, Reg A Plus in terms of platforms and industries. And for me, there's a huge part of the industry that doesn't get access because of they're not accredited investors that now have access to, since 2018 through these different regulatory mechanisms. And the fact that we are able to have companies be able to offer Reg A Pluses, just like Exodus did recently, where they were literally able to raise $75 million amongst their own users, their own community, people could actually give back to something they care about, and then be able to put that onto a secondary market called an ATS. It's just wonderful. And I want to see other people be able to transition financial classes. So for me, one of the things is giving access to people to transition financial classes, and we help enable that as kind of like, the nucleus here in the ecosystem. Well, we actually went out with one of our clients as part of a team, and this is more of an extended team, both the client team and us, and we did some axe throwing. Beer and axe throwing, it's kind of funny, but it was pretty cool. We have some videos of that. Another thing is really just going to people's houses, and we just started recently doing that, but having us invite an entire team over. Our CTO has asked us, for Thanksgiving if no one has anywhere to go. He's opening his doors there. So being able to just kind of be able to come over and get to see people outside of the office space and get to know them and their family, just at some level, being a family is one thing, but just getting to know people and making sure they're real and not just numbers is super important to us here at Virtalo.
Hi Kyle, I'm Mark Hoffman. I am our CRO here at Virtalo. I actually have been in technology since early mid-90s. I started off in the Bay Area. I was out in the Bay Area for about 13, 14 years. Then went to Boise, Idaho of all places for about 12 years. And then figured there's an interesting opportunity here in Austin to come on down, bring my family and take advantage of both the lifestyle that Austin has to provide as well as the technology. This is, for me, is early stage startup number 9. So I've been through this a little bit, but looking forward to the opportunity here at Virtalo. I was introduced into a mutual investor in Virtalo, a company called Sputnik, ATX, an accelerator that Dave and the team went through a number of years ago. Sat down with them for a little while, Joe Merrill over there, and he said, hey, you should probably go spend some time, talk to Virtalo folks and see if there was an opportunity there for you. So I came in on a Fried Chicken Friday, as tends to be the theme around here, and met the team, nice and small, making a difference out in the market. So I'm excited to be here and see what we can do in the context of growing the company. Yeah, it's interesting. I don't know that many know this, but actually in 2015, I consulted for a small company in Boise, and they were doing almost 3-factor authentication, frankly, for identity verification for financial advisors and fiduciaries. Did that for a few months and it kind of fizzled out. I went off, ran around, did a couple other things. But when I came here and I spent some time with Dave and William and Gautam and talked about the opportunity, it frankly takes me back a number of decades to a company where I was at called TIBCO Software. TIBCO modernized the financial trading floor back in the day, digitized things, brought it together. So I've seen the world of connectivity, and I've seen the way the world can change, especially in the financial services markets, if you're able to do that. So when you look at, I think, the market today and what Virtalo is doing and the technology underneath with blockchain, it's clearly having a big impact on financial services, markets at large, the technology ecosystem at large. So it's just really hard to argue against, and it provides a great facility to modernize and innovate across all kinds of industries, but just has this natural inclination to steer towards the financial services markets and do some super cool things. So when I came into Virtalo and enjoyed the hot fried chicken, I sat at the table, and it was at the time it was with William and with Dave, and it was a very interesting first meeting because what we started to get into the challenges of early stage companies and what's good and what's bad, and the subject and the solution space of Virtalo, again, is very similar to a previous role that I had. So as we got through the end of the meal, we started finishing each other's sentences. So I sort of saw this interesting blend and this nice seamless integration of the way I think about software companies and the way that Dave and William and Gautam think about software companies. So when I found it, I've been looking around in Austin, been here for about 2.5 years. I've been looking for a company that was looking to do something different, but had a similar startup mindset. We're not in Silicon Valley, which is great. You know, we're not on the East Coast, which is great. We're here in Austin, Texas, and we can do some great things. And I hadn't really found anything where the mindset was similar. The opportunity, the big thinking, the big opportunity was similar, something that I was looking to do. And just the overall approach to kicking off a company and the way we run things, and Dave's mentality of, you know, employees first, then customers, then investors. So a lot of the things that I've been through my career matched up and lined up super well with what Virtalo is doing. So it was hard to say no, and enjoyed every day since. So I think from a Virtalo perspective, in terms of the way we help small businesses, maybe I can insert new businesses as well. I think we empower small businesses. We're a small business ourselves, so we're gonna eat our own dog food and do good things as a result. But I think in the market that we're in, and if you look at financial services at large and innovation in the digital assets and security space and the private markets and their size as compared to the public markets, but they're, you know, minimal size in the context of volume and equities trading associated therein, there's such an opportunity for us to infuse that whole underserved market with new and small. So you might have small companies that are starting off looking for a new business model to take advantage of the digital assets and securities ecosystem, but you might have a big behemoth that's actually looking to launch net new, might be small today, but it's obvious with what's happened in history, there's a huge opportunity to kick off a new business and do interesting things. So I'm super excited about the chance to say, hey, listen, we can take an established market that's crying for innovation in the context of the private marketplace side, but inject new technology, blockchain concepts and ideas, bring those things together and absolutely turn the world upside down. So it was, you know, back in, again, 15, when I had jumped into a previous blockchain company, I really didn't know much about it. So I think there was a light bulb that went off then. Probably not as bright as the one that went off here, but it went off in the context of, you know, immutable distributed ledger. And coming from, I started my technology career in 1994 at Oracle. So I understand what a database is, and I understand the importance of data and data storage and the ability to then manipulate data in all kinds of ways. So I took that experience, had a dim light bulb moment in 2015, and then when I showed up here, I started to really understand the application of blockchain in the context of what we're doing and why. I just saw this bright light bulb go off, you know, kind of an explosion of light that said, listen, if we can leverage the blockchain and we can start to apply different business models and technologies and capabilities on top, yet again, we can be incredibly disruptive in the world. I'm super excited about what we're doing. It's not sexy, but it is required, and the ability to build a platform on top of something like what we're doing is going to offer all kinds of opportunities. I've seen it before. I allude again back to my experience a couple decades ago. We had a very simple messaging system upon which was built a multi-billion-dollar company, an industry for that matter. So I see us leveraging the opportunity and the bright light of blockchain in all kinds of ways today, and frankly in ways we haven't even thought of quite yet. There is such a rich opportunity in terms of connecting the digital assets and securities ecosystem, but then also leveraging the technology upon which to build. Data at the core, compliance at the core, reporting at the core will open up all kinds of opportunities for us, and the ecosystem at large. We want the entire attack to rise. So I am fortunate and blessed. I have 4 kids. So when I'm not taking care of my family and I'm not here at Vertalo working, we definitely have some fun things to do. I think we like to stay engaged virtually. And I only say that because it's watching football on the weekends with laptops, and we're texting, we're talking about games, and we're talking about things both work related and non-work related, which tells me we have a good group. Right, good people tend to hang out with good people, so I think we have a lot of like-minded ideas and concepts. But I think Austin offers the opportunity to go do interesting things, whether it's taking care of the food, which is fantastic, the lakes. I don't know, I think they're rivers, but they call them lakes here, so that's fantastic too, and that's super cool. The weather's great, and UT is fantastic. When you take all those ingredients and bring them together with a bunch of good people that work hard, but that have similar ideas of fun and beliefs and such, there is just not a lack of things that we get to go do together. And again, it's having fun at conferences, it's going out and eating together. I think before I got here, they were throwing axes, not at each other, but at wooden boards and walls. So there is just an inordinate amount of things that we can do to relieve the stress. We work hard, but we're going to play hard too.
My name is Danielle. I'm the head of marketing operations here at Virtalo. And my background really stems in, brand curation, content creation, brand strategy. And, when Dave and I were first talking about me maybe joining the team, I was very honest with him, and I said, I don't really understand the industry. I'm quite new in the whole digital asset securities and cryptocurrency industry. And he told me, you know what, I don't need you to know about the industry. I can teach you that. I just need somebody that knows marketing. And I said, well, then I'm the girl. So that's how I joined the team.
What do you like about working with the Vertalo?
Honestly, why I love working at Virtalo is the team. When I first came to visit the office in person, there was just this energy in the office that I immediately caught on to. All the guys here are some of the smartest people I've ever met, and it's honestly a privilege to come to work every day. Listening to them bounce ideas off of each other, and the amount of respect that is in the room every single time a person walks in the room is incredible. And that's what sold me on wanting to be a part of the team. And so of course I just I wanted to say whenever I needed to get here, because I love coming to work, and we all have a good time too. But like I said earlier, I think the main thing here is that everybody here is eager to learn, everybody stays curious, and everybody respects one another. And it's a joy to be able to be challenged every day with a bunch of people who are going to support you at the same time. It's so important to work with industry partners. We love having our partners, our prospects, anybody that we're talking to into the office. We love to meet them face to face. We love to show them why we want to work with them. We want to support them and what they're doing as well, whether that's using our platform or not. So it's definitely really important and to maintain that communication as well through, definitely through email and through, our customer success team. They do such an amazing job with keeping in touch with everybody, our clients, everybody else in the industry. And yeah, maintaining that communication is super important, just that they feel like they are being supported and enabled, which is a part of our mission. So Dave has mentioned this a couple of times, but we threw a conference together in less than 3 months, and it was a lot of work for our whole team, Dave and I specifically. You know, we'd never put on a conference before. I'm not an event planner. I've never done anything like that before ever in my life, but despite the long hours and despite it being very scary, it was so rewarding to see the overwhelming amount of positive feedback, for like to just coming to me, coming to Dave, coming to the whole team. And it was so rewarding too to see the amount of people that ended up showing, and the different kinds of attendees that came to the conference. And honestly, I think that's why it was successful, were the attendees, the people that came. Everybody was just having such amazing conversations with one another, and everyone was learning so much, I think, with every panel, every speech, every breakout session. And so now, you know, we're about a little over a month after the conference, and we are planning the next one already. Hopefully that will happen in the spring. And it's humbling, and it's, like I said, it's rewarding, and it makes me very happy to know that everybody had such a good time and that they're looking forward to the next one. And so now on a marketing front, you know, we're just keeping in touch with everybody through emails, through surveys, talking about what do you want to see for the next time? What do you want to see in speeches? When it comes to our sponsors are already reaching out to us again, asking when's the next one we want to sponsor again. So yeah, it was a big feat for us to accomplish, but I think that we did it. So I'm sure multiple people have already responded with Fried Chicken Friday. We love our Fried Chicken Friday. We also do a bunch of stuff. We also love to go to happy hour. You know, we work hard to keep our Virtalo bars stocked with all the good stuff, but we also love to go, you know, outside the office and go to breweries, and just making sure that we still have that team camaraderie, and that way we can just kind of chill and hang out together. I am from Austin. Well, I wasn't born here, but I've been here 20 years, so I consider myself an original Austinite, and it's been really interesting to see the city change over the past 2 decades. It went from being a smaller, weird hippie town in the middle of Texas, where the phrase "Keep Austin Weird" became its slogan, and now it's turned into this major city in Texas, and I would even go as far as to say it's become a major city in the United States. The rapid growth has been amazing to watch, and literally watch the skyscraper, or the skyline downtown Austin just completely evolve and change, and it continues to evolve and change, and everybody keeps moving here, and it's really exciting. It feels like you're moving forward with the future, if that makes sense. And as an adult living in Austin versus how I grew up, you know, it's there's always something to do. Austin's a great city. It is. It's a lot of fun to be in, and it's also a city with all of the tech companies that are here in Austin. There's always an opportunity for you to learn something new, because there are events happening all the time, especially in startups. There are a lot of startups here, and as a startup, I think Virtalo is right where it needs to be, and Austin is a great city to live in.
My name is Phil. I'm one of the 2 front-end engineers here. I moved here from San Francisco about 5 months ago, so it's still pretty fresh. It's the first startup that I ever worked for, although the previous company I worked for was also pretty small. I was living in the Bay Area, interviewing for jobs, and then Virtalo was like, "Are you willing to relocate to Austin?" Because this is like pandemic. Because we're not doing remote. And I was like, yes, I'm totally okay with relocating to Austin. Because I'm from the Bay, there's no shortage of jobs out there. And I was like, okay, interview experience, I need to get reps in, and let's see what this is about. So I interview, go through the first few rounds, and I get to the last one. And by the end of it, I was like, dang it, I really like these guys. And then they gave me an offer, and I was like, no, now I have to make the call. Like, do I move? And that was a big deal for me. But the two reasons that I really decided to move out was, first, I interviewed with William, and I sort of got a gut instinct that he was wise and good. I interviewed with Nolan, and his engineering, I've struggled to find the right word, mindset, practice, maybe values, the way that he addressed problems, I was like, I want to learn from this guy. And I made my decision to move out based on those two things. And then after the first few months here, I was like, oh wow, I'm so glad I did, because I was like, I don't know, it's kind of a gut instinct. You interview with somebody for a few hours and like, you know, who knows? But they turned out to be the things that I sort of picked up on in the interviews. And I'm really happy about it. What do I love about Virtalo now that I've been here? The first thing that comes to mind is like one of the company axioms, I guess, or like one of their like catchphrases, which is like easy on people and hard on ideas. So it's an environment with a lot of strong personalities and a lot of intelligent people, and you have a lot of freedom to express how you think something should be done, and like whether or not we should introduce a technology, whether we should change a pattern, or how things should be factored. Full freedom to do that, and everyone will sharpen the idea or it will break. And it's I guess sort of the follow-on to that thing that I like about Virtalo is that their actions directly reflect their values. So it's like, I've experienced a lot of instances where they're really hard on ideas, and then afterwards, like, well, you know, once the matter is settled, everybody's okay with each other. Even if like, oh, this like idea was sort of your child or whatever, and it was thrashed because it was a terrible idea, no one thinks any less of you. And it's a really free environment to be in. Yeah. So the fun thing about the product that we're building, to me, is most of the company was built by one guy, Nolan. And then, you know, we have a couple more people now. And so how do 3 people punch way above their weight? And our system is pretty strongly patterned. And so we are programmatically generating everything. So on the back end, Nolan writes a lot of meta programming that generates all of the SQL. On the front end, we just deployed, like all of our front end components are being programmatically generated. What I'm working on now is writing end-to-end Selenium tests that read all of the information that they need from our GraphQL types. And with some config, are able to populate all actions that a user can take. And it's beautiful. And I've never done anything like it before, but it's a lot of fun. My favorite team activities outside of the office are probably rock climbing. I mean, it's the thing that I love doing anyway, and I've been able to bamboozle enough people here to get them on a wall, and it's a good time. Yeah, that, and if I had to pick one that I wasn't already doing, I think it would be like, I don't really go out to bars, but we've gone out and drank together, and one thing that, I can't remember if it was William or Martin that told me, that sort of stuck with me, and they were like, if you ever get the chance to drink with the previous generation, do so. You'll probably learn something. And so those outings have been pretty fruitful.
I'm Alec Beckman. I'm from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. I went to Penn State University, and I have a background in real estate and blockchain. What I do with Virtalo is I head up the business development for real estate assets and real estate owners and investors and pretty much anything real estate. I have dabbled also in crypto and some sports deals, but mostly real estate. I got into the blockchain space in 2015 when one of my best friends Googled how to get rich, and he came across an article which found Bitcoin and Ethereum, and I had $300 to my name. I was a junior in college, and I just threw it in, and then I started to really learn about it, and I thought this is actually pretty cool and could apply to more things than just crypto. I made the connection from crypto to security tokens by I actually left my job in real estate as a broker to start a consulting company and a crypto fund. And part of the consulting company, I was actually about to go work for a real estate development company, and I told them that I was not going to go work for them anymore. I was just going to go do my own thing and start this blockchain consulting company, helping companies, regular companies implement blockchain solutions. The company that I was going to go work for, they pretty much said to me, how can this apply to real estate? And so then we ended up signing them as a client, and they hired us to do a research project on how blockchain could apply to real estate. We ended up, finding Virtalo and working really well with them. Then Vertalo pretty much said, we and mostly Dave said, you did a good job with this real estate project. Why don't you come do real estate as a vertical here? And that's how it happened. What do I love about Virtalo? Great team. A lot of people who are ready to get after it, and a lot of people who are forward-thinking. And it's a really great forward-thinking company with a really great perspective on the market and securities. Virtalo can empower small businesses and asset holders by creating liquidity on assets that are usually illiquid. So a lot of the times you'll see companies, and they will work for years and years to raise the growth of their equity. You'll see employees come in with, essentially they get equity as a big part of why they come into the company. Startups offer equity pretty often. Those people do a ton of work, and most of the time they never see a liquidity event. So what we're doing is actually really powerful. Specifically with the real estate side, most limited partners in a real estate deal are at mercy of the general partner and the managing partner for when they want to actually sell the asset to get their liquidity. So what we're doing is, allowing people to just have more flexibility and options and cash on hand, which is, I think, pretty powerful. Yeah, at a young age, my whole family's in real estate. My dad, my uncles, my grandfather. So, it was pretty obvious to me at a young age that I wanted to do something in real estate. It seemed like, there were a lot of good opportunities. And when I got into blockchain in 2015, I was thinking that maybe real estate would would be put off to the side. And when I figured out that there was a way to connect the two, I thought that was very powerful. And then learning about, not just real estate, but what we can do for private assets and the actual securities world, that was kind of the moment that really set it off for me as being why I should be in this industry. Favorite team activities, we like to drink a lot. So sometimes we'll drink together, and we play golf sometimes. And yeah, it's a really great team here, and everyone is a good person, and everyone's good to hang out with.
It's obvious that our table is too small for the growing team here at Virtalo. If you'd like to come help us sell more stuff and buy more tables, okay, a bigger table, just contact info@virtalo.com. And if you come here for limited time, you'll get a free tungsten cube and 100,000 Shiba Inu, okay?